In the last scene from the first season of The Mandalorian, we see Moff Gideon escape his crashed TIE fighter with a mysterious black lightsaber. This black lightsaber is known as the Darksaber, is a one-of-a-kind lightsaber that's steeped in Mandalorian history. What is the Darksaber, and why does Moff Gideon have it? Stick around and find out. To understand the Darksaber's meaning and purpose for being in the show The Mandalorian, let's do a quick canon history lesson. The Darksaber was created over 1,000 years before we see it in Gideon's hands by the first Mandalorian ever inducted into the Jedi, Tar Vizsla. After Tar died, the Jedi kept it in their temple for safekeeping. During the fall of the Old Republic, Tar's clan, House Vizsla, stole it from the Jedi and used it to show their power. Over the following centuries, the Darksaber became the symbol of ultimate power and leadership in the Mandalorian culture. It was wielded against any enemies and killed many Jedi. The next time it appears in canon is only roughly 30 years before we see it in Gideon's hands. It is wielded at that time by Pre-Vizsla, a descendant of Tar's. We see Vizsla use it throughout the Clone Wars, and he uses it to unite the people under Death Watch and take back over Mandalore. This is important because the current government of Mandalore during this time was trying to move Mandalore to a peaceful future. Vizsla's rule would be short-lived, however. During his takeover of Mandalore, he enlisted the help of Darth Maul. Maul challenges him one-on-one to take control of Mandalore. Maul wins this fight and ends Vizsla's life, also taking the Darksaber. While we won't dig too much into the time that Maul has it, one important event shortly after Vizsla's death that Maul uses the Darksaber in is to kill Satine Kryze. Satine was the leader of Mandalore right before Pre-Vizsla overthrew them. This is a very important figure from a very important house in Mandalore that is now killed by an outsider with the Darksaber. Now we fast forward to roughly 10 years before we see it in Gideon's hands. The Darksaber finds its way back to the Mandalorians when Sabine Wren finds it on Dathomir. Sabine is well aware of its importance and brings the saber back to Mandalore. The Mandalorians unite and strike a big blow against the Empire, who is now controlling Mandalore. Sabine uses this moment to give the Darksaber to Bo-Katan Kryze. This is the last time we see the Darksaber in canon before we see it in the Mandalorian TV show. It's important to note that the Mandalorians had just struck a blow against the Empire and now are uniting over Bo-Katan and the Darksaber. This leads us up to the last episode of the Mandalorian TV show, where Gideon cuts his way out of the TIE fighter. We know from Din's comments earlier in the episode that Gideon was a former ISB officer with the Empire. This leads us to believe that Gideon had a part in, or maybe orchestrated the whole purge of Mandalore. It seems as though sometime in that purge, Gideon acquired the Darksaber from Bo-Katan. This will bring up a fascinating plot point in Season 2, now that we know how much the Darksaber means to the Mandalorians, and that the man who is now wielding it was the author of their culture's near extinction. Can't wait to see how this plays out in Season 2. Thanks for watching. If you could hit like, comment, subscribe below, and check out our other videos. Appreciate it. Later, Podawans.